I made it. I come from this neighborhood. You can make it too.
You've lived the American dream. Take us back to young John arriving from Greece and growing up in West Harlem.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, we both grew up poor. I My two grandfathers came to America in 1913, but leave that aside. My father came after World War II, and I was 6 months old. So you got to go to the White House. I can never go to the White House. Okay, I can't. I can't be president. Me and Schwarzenegger can't be president. But I love. I grew up on West Harlem by City College, and I've been now. I'm chairman of the Police Athletic League and take care of the kids of the inner city. And one of the things I want to do is I wrote the books for the kids of the inner city, and uh, to let them know that you can grow up on the poor side of town, but you can make it. And I think we're losing so many young kids. Our education system is in a crapper, and we got to save those kids because that's the future of America. And all those kids need somebody to have their arm around them, like you said. They need to have hope, and we have to teach them. Yes, have hope, but work hard, get a good education, uh, keep your nose clean. Uh, and most of those people, I understand the latest number is 70% are one parent families.
Yeah.
And they come out of school, and what happens? They come out of school and they have no place to go to. And unless they have like we have the police athletic league centers, uh, unless they have some place to go to, they end up hanging around in the pizza shop, or the old days when me and you were growing up used to be the candy store, and they get in trouble. And how do we save these kids? So this book, if we give it to high school or college kids, maybe we could save some of them and give them hope that they could make it too. And that's what I usually do at the Police Athletic League. I point at them and said, "I made it. I come from this neighborhood. You can make it too." And I think it's a big thing. And the other reason I wrote the book is for my kids and grandkids that I don't have yet, to let them know where they came from and what's the story of who their grandfather was someday. And uh, I just I thought I had to put it in on paper. And look, right now our country is in dire situations. Our city, our state, and our country are in deep crap. And
Well,
the
let me
go ahead.
stop you there though, because I get so many questions for you. But I'm going to ask you about the country right now because we're contemporaries. We're both born in the baby boomer generation. I thought our generation was going to fix things and make things better. We've gone wild. Our generation. We're tribal. We're attacking each other viciously. The George Bush W. Bush term ended with $7 trillion of debt. Okay, that's only 15 years ago, John. We have $32 trillion of debt now. What are we doing wrong culturally? And how do we bring back that civic virtue and the civic unity that you love about America and I love about America?
I think it happened in the last 10 years. It it started, I believe, under President Obama, and what President Trump did not realize, and you were there a short period of time, was President Obama had put 2,000 of his people that are loyal to his way of life and what he wanted to do. And I have nothing against him, but the fact is he infiltrated every department where he had his own style of things. And I don't know where it's going, but right now our country is in trouble. Uh, Look what's happened with the Saudi Arabians. They don't trust President Biden. It's the first time in 50 years or 60 years that they don't trust an American president. And they're aligning themselves. China is creating a new axis of power. Russia, Saudi Arabia now, Turkey, India, Pakistan, Venezuela, Cuba. I mean, they're creating, like when we and you growing up watching James Bond movies, Spectre. I mean, the axis of evil. Well, right now they're lining up and choosing up sides, and they're looking at the problems they have in Israel. I think Republicans and Democrats have to sit down together and say enough is enough. Let's fight for our country. I don't know how they come up with some of the crap on the border is out of control. The fentanyl killing our kids is out of control. What say you?
Well, I think it's a lot of, I think of everything that you just said, but I also think that it has to do with the way we set up the electoral process. So not to bore you, because I want to make this about you, but we allowed for these people now to gerrymander their enemies out of their districts, a result of which you create radical fat tails on both sides of the party. We haven't had a constitutional amendment, John, of material constitutional amendment since 1965. We had one in 93, which was procedural, but look at the amendments, 27 amendments, 245-year-old country. You should have an amendment every 8 to 9 years to renew the voice of the American people, but we don't do that anymore. We have a problem with campaign finance. Absolutely do. We have to address it. We have a problem with gerrymandering. Are we in a real democracy if the candidates themselves are actually picking the people that are voting for them? And so this has distorted the system. And we used to fight together. You know, the American military had 35% of the American families were involved with the military in World War II and the Korean War. It's down to 3%, a result of which our nation, you know, the people in Wyoming don't know the people in New York as well as they did. You remember George McGovern and you remember Bob Dole. They didn't have
Yes.
the same ideology, but they served in the American military together. So they had some level of professional respect between themselves. But let's go back to you. It's super important for me to understand your personality because you have one of the most unique gifts. When I run into people and they say, "Are you friends with John Catsimatidis?" I say, "Well, anybody that knows John Catsimatidis is friends with John Catsimatidis." You have this wonderful way of being loyal to people. You have this wonderful way of doing favors for people in this nonlinear way. You're never looking for anything in return. When I got fired from the White House, you reached out to me. You asked me to speak at the PAL League luncheon, which I graciously accepted. You brought me into your community. You put your arm around me. It's something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Explain to me the temperament of John Catsimatidis and the person that you are and how you think about people.
Well, what I try to teach kids and tell people that you're better off. My job and my inner heart is to make friends every day and make new friends every day. Not like our mutual friend that makes new enemies every day. And he would be a terrific president if he didn't make new enemies every day. I mean, and I don't understand that.
He's not, but John, Trump is not a loyal guy. I mean, let's just be very clear.
Yes.
He's asymmetrically loyal. He'll run you over with a truck. Okay. He could care less about you or anybody in his field of vision. Anybody that worked for him that had their own dough, okay, or had their own career like a general, did not like working for him and thought he was a jackass and had no executive management skills. I mean, this is the facts.
And we both look. You realized it. It happened to you. It happened to me. I mean, in different ways. But I believe in making new friends every day. I believe that I love people, and one of the reasons my success when I got into the supermarket business and the food business. All my vendors. I wasn't financed by banks. I didn't have a banking background. I didn't have a a manager, a business school degree. So I had to do it the hard way. Well, my vendors, the people, the ice cream guy, the milk guy, the grocery guy, they all fell in love with me. And I loved them to back. And guess what? They financed me. John wants to build a new store. Give him more credit. Let him build a new store. And by the age of 23, 24, I had 10 stores that they financed. And I was making $1 million a year. In those days, $1 million a year was a lot of money. And it's relationships, whether it's bankers, vendors, whatever, friends. People like people that have that they could love each other and have a good relationship with each other. They don't like arrogant son of a bitches. They don't like people that think they're God's gift to the world. And if the kids that read my book learn that by itself, then that's going to help them in life. And that's what it's all about. And so me and you, Mooch, we have a mission to help the next generation.